Welcome to the world of food irony, where today's haute cuisine once lived in the cupboards of the downtrodden. Yep, today we're diving into dishes that have had a glow-up. Foods that went from poor man's grub to rich man's delicacy. Grab your forks, folks. It's time for a tasty trip back in time. Lobster, cockroach of the sea. First up, lobster. Hard to believe, but there was a time when people wouldn't even look at lobsters, let alone eat them. They were called the cockroaches of the sea and used as bait, fertilizer, and, wait for it, food for prisoners. If you served someone lobster twice in a week, it was borderline cruelty. Fast forward to today, and lobster is served on fancy white plates with parsley sprigs, butter drizzles, and a price tag that'll make your wallet cry. Who would have guessed the cockroach of the sea would end up a 5-star favorite? What a comeback. Oysters, a pearly past. In the 19th century, oysters were like the fast food of the coastal poor. They were cheap, abundant, and eaten by the bucket. Today, you'd be lucky to get a dozen for less than a small fortune. Some people order them by the half shell at $3 a pop, all for a taste of briny goodness. Who would have thought that the snack of fishermen and dock workers would be washed down with champagne someday? Caviar. Eggs for everyone. Fancy restaurants serve it by the teaspoon, and you're expected to enjoy it slowly, as if it's a rare vintage wine. But back in the day, these fish eggs were so common that Russian farmers practically ate them by the handful. Now, you're looking at over $100 an ounce for some types of caviar. Talk about a fished-out market. From peasant's plate to king's kitchens, it's the true tale of roe to riches. Bone marrow. The OG nose-to-tail eating bone marrow, one of today's gourmet goodies, was once just what was left after butchering. Butchers gave it away, and people scraped the bones for every bit of flavor they could get. Now, bone marrow is considered culinary gold, with chefs carefully spooning it onto crusty bread as if it's rare foie gras. From the forgotten bones of the butcher's floor to a $30 appetizer. Bon appetit. Escargot. Snails, but make it fancy. Escargot, aka snails. Yes, snails. French farmers used to chow down on them as a survival food, picking them right out of the garden. Now, they're delicacies bathed in garlic, butter, and parsley. It's so fancy, they're served in little snail-shaped dishes. It's hard to believe people are shelling out for shellfish. Or are they? Either way, snails are proof that with enough butter, anything can be gourmet. Foie gras. From goose feed to gourmet foie gras. Fancy word, right? But really, it's just fat liver. Goose farmers in ancient Egypt figured out that feeding their geese a lot made their livers taste amazing. Fast forward to today, and foie gras is a prized French delicacy served in the world's finest restaurants. For something that once just came with farming season, foie gras now screams luxury. Fat liver's glow-up is real. Beef tongue, the talk of the town. Let's talk about beef tongue, once the budget-friendly meat option for working folks. Nowadays, this tasty cut is a top choice in everything from high-end tacos to gourmet sandwiches. From bargain bin to beloved menu item, beef tongue has us all talking. After all, it's not just what you eat, but how you say it. Lengua sounds a lot better, doesn't it? Kopi Luwak, the world's most expensive coffee. Next up, we have Kopi Luwak, also known as poop coffee. This gourmet coffee is made from beans that have been eaten and processed by the Asian palm civet, a cat-like animal. Apparently, civet stomach enzymes bring out the flavor. And how much for a cup? Only around $80. Yep, people are paying big bucks for coffee that literally came from a cat's rear end. Guess you could say this coffee's been through the grind twice. Quinoa, the ancient grain gone super quinoa. Once a staple food of the Andean region, it was known as a food for the poor. That is, until someone slapped a superfood label on it, and suddenly, it's in every high-end grocery store. These days, it's the ultimate health status symbol. Move over rice, quinoa's here to stay. Sushi, from fish preservation to fine dining. Believe it or not, it started as a way for Japanese fishermen to preserve fish. They packed it in fermented rice, which kept the fish fresh for days. Later, sake and vinegar took over, making the entire dish edible and tastier. Now, we have omakase spots where a single seat costs over $500. From fisherman's trick to Michelin star cuisine, sushi has truly gone from real to royal. And there you have it, the ultimate list of rags to riches foods. So next time you're shelling out for a luxurious lobster or sipping on some fancy coffee, just remember, you're eating like a king, but also kind of like a pauper. The glow up is real. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and tell us in the comments which of these foods you'd give a try. Until next time, stay curious and stay hungry.